We begin this hour with Russia's war in Ukraine, now about to reach the 2-year mark on Saturday. It's one of several conflicts around the world. And now a new poll suggests support for NATO is growing. According to a new poll by Newsweek, 64% of American voters say they support NATO. That is 2 percentage points higher than back in November. Now, this comes after former President Donald Trump's comments earlier this month when he said he wouldn't defend NATO members that don't meet defense spending targets. Here's the clip.
NATO was busted until I came along. I said, everybody's going to pay. One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
The former president has since defended his comments. President Joe Biden called Trump's remarks dangerous, un-American, and shocking. Ambassador Julie Smith joins us now from Brussels. She's the United States permanent representative to NATO, and before that, she served as a senior advisor to Secretary Blinken at the State Department. Ambassador, it's great to have you. Thank you for being here.
Sure.
So
Thank you.
Wonderful to have you this morning. So I am aware you believe supporting Ukraine and NATO, that's in America's best interests. What is your argument for those who are skeptical of those moves?
Well, first of all, on the NATO alliance, NATO's about to celebrate its 75th anniversary. That means that for over 7 decades, countless U.S. presidents have supported this alliance. Why? Because they fundamentally understood that this alliance serves our interests, that it is in our interest to work together with our closest European allies and our friends in Canada on a whole variety of security challenges, whether it's looking at cybersecurity, or it's looking at emerging and disruptive technologies, or what Russia is doing in Ukraine. And that brings me to Ukraine. Of course, here in the alliance, every single member of the alliance is supporting Ukraine with economic assistance, humanitarian assistance, and lethal assistance. Of course, the U.S. has been in the lead on that, but I would note that collectively, European allies have actually done more than the United States. So this is a real partnership to push back on unprovoked Russian aggression. We have to stop what Putin is doing in Ukraine, because if we don't stop what Putin is doing there, he'll keep going. We've learned that in the past. Dictators keep moving when they are not stopped in their tracks. So we are proud of what the Ukrainians have been able to do to defend their territory and push Russia out. And we want to see continued U.S. support working with our friends in Europe to make this a collective endeavor.
You know, to your point, Julie, if Russia ultimately takes over Ukraine, what message do you believe that would send globally to countries like China?
Well, that's a very important point. So Putin isn't the only one that has interests in the outcome in Ukraine. In fact, many countries around the world, the Chinese in particular, but I suspect many others, are keeping a watchful eye to see if the United States, working with its closest allies and partners, can push back on this kind of unprovoked aggression. Ukraine did nothing to deserve this war, and if we don't call out the Russians and push back on what you're doing, you're right. We don't know how other leaders around the world will read it and what type of risks they will take in the future to infringe on other countries' sovereignty.
So we are nearly 2 years into this war. What do you believe is Putin's objective right now? Do you believe it has changed or evolved?
Well, I think fundamentally this has been a strategic failure for Putin. So he came in and he thought he could send troops right into the capital, right into Kyiv, and take over the entire country in just a few weeks' time. And we all know how the story has progressed. He has failed to do that. They've captured a small portion of Ukrainian territory, and we want it to be even smaller going forward and get them out completely. But he also wanted to weaken the NATO alliance, weaken America's relationship with with Europe. And instead, what he's done is he's made the alliance stronger.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.